One of the best journeys a child can take is one that teaches them about acceptance and diversity. Guiding them down this remarkable path is our guest, Marybeth Wishart, a retired special education teacher and author of the children's book, Parker the Purple Penguin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I
And
appreciate it.
congratulations on this book.
Thank you. It's been quite a journey, and I'm very excited.
Tell us more about Parker.
Well, Parker is a story that I literally told my own children driving them to school over 30 years ago. And it was one of my favorite stories. You know, as parents are always asked to tell their children are always asking them to tell them stories. And I told them this story, and it became very near and dear to my heart. And I wrote it down, literally wrote it down, put it in a drawer, and kept revisiting every once in a while, saying, I really think I want to publish this someday. Well, 30 years later, the dream came true.
That's amazing. So this book was 30 years in the making.
Yes, it has been. Yes.
Now, you are also a retired special education teacher.
Correct.
And tell me some of the students in classrooms that you've worked in, and you were doing this for well over 3 decades as well.
Yes, I started in the late 70s, and I was a special education teacher in a very diverse school district. And we were kind of in the beginning of special education, where they started to pass laws that all students, regardless of their disabilities, needed to be giving a fair and equitable education. And so I was part of that process and part of allowing students to be in the least restrictive environment. So I started teaching in self-contained classrooms, eventually started with including them into general education classes, team teaching with general education teachers, consulting with them as they accepted these students into their classroom and learned how to teach to their needs. And so it's been quite a journey. I've done a lot of different things over the years, and it was a wonderful career, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
What were some of the disabilities that your students had?
Well, there's a wide range. I had those who are intellectually disabled, some with autism, some had some physical disabilities that were in wheelchairs and had to have 504 plans for various reasons, and some with just a very mild learning disability, and some that needed lots of supports, and some that just needed some minimal supports.
Would you say that they were the inspiration behind Parker the Purple Penguin?
They truly were. Yes, I we were in the beginning of the 80s, so including students with all disabilities into general education classrooms. And so I wanted to help everyone, accept them. And as I was telling my own children this story, I wanted them to be kind and empathetic and welcoming to all people, no matter what their either disability or their ethnicity or cultural differences are, and that's kind of where Parker started.
Let me ask you this. Now, you're teaching children through this book on how to be accepting and understand diversity and to be able to appreciate it. Do you think this is something that you can teach adults too?
Yes, I think we are all learning that, to be honest with you. I think we all have to do some inner work and figure out where we might fall short in that process and do better. I think it doesn't just happen automatically. I think we need to get ourselves out there, meeting people from all different backgrounds, and have conversations with them, get to know them, and also find our similarities, because in the book it's addressed, and we need to find that in our culture and in our society as a whole.
Indeed. You're not alone in this mission, in this endeavor. You recently launched your book at an event with another author that we've had on our show, a former professional baseball player, Chris Singleton. He wrote his book, Different. You two joined forces on a beautiful Saturday and shared your stories. Was there anything that you learned from Chris?
He's a remarkable young man. He has been through some real significant adversity, and he has turned it around into a mission that he is just doing an incredible job. He's talking all over the country and trying to get that message from children all the way through adults, to love your neighbor and to accept people and find out, how we are the same, and to go from there.
Well, and for anyone who's not familiar with Chris Singleton, he is the son of Sharonda Coleman Singleton, who was killed along with 8 other victims in the 2015 Mother Emanuel massacre. He came out the very next day and said he forgave his mother's shooter. So I think anyone who can emerge from that and be the legacy that his mother would be so proud of means a lot. And the fact that both of you are sharing this message with readers and families and people all over the country and the world, we need more of that. What are you hoping, Marybeth, that people, when either children are reading the stories themselves or parents are reading the stories to their children, what do you hope that people take away from Parker?
Well, I really hope that they, we all have had stories, books we've read, whether from as a child or we read now, that kind of open our eyes to looking at something in a different perspective. And so I think we have to start young, and often children, as Chris said, sometimes these are difficult conversations, but if we start them with books and we enter those conversations and ask good questions, they start to accept and see that we are all the same, and that love is greater than hate, as Chris says, and we must embrace loving our neighbor. And so I'm just so excited that we can start at such a young age and get this message out there together.
Most definitely. And I wore my purple in honor of Parker.
Thank you.
I see you did as well.
I did, yes.
Purple is the color of acceptance. I love it. Thank you so much, Marybeth Wishart, for joining us and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
We're back after this.